The 2021 fast-pitch wiffle ball season raged on across the country all summer. It was an incredible year of whiffs to follow and led up to the much-anticipated United Wiffle Ball National Championship Tournament, where teams from around the country would battle for the title of National Champion. It was a weekend to remember, and today on Wiffle Statement, we are going to recap and relive the excitement and drama of the 2021 United Wiffle Ball National Championship weekend.
And shout out Wiffle Statement. Follow that guy. Best wiffle ball videos out there.
I know she wanna make time. You fly that economy line. Goddamn, why you look so fine? I just wanna make you mine. Gotta roll back, playing throwbacks. In my bag, Z4, I know back. Gotta roll back, playing throwbacks. In my bag, Z4, I know back. Yeah, we're on the rise for the rest of our lives. Yeah, we're on the rise now.
As the leaves began to fall in October, the 2021 regular season of whiffs began to wrap up around the country. MAW would end in September, with the Juggernauts sweeping the championship series against Earl, thanks to a dominating pitching performance from Ryan McElrath. MLW would wrap up in August as the Diamondbacks walked off a dramatic Game 5 against the Wildcats. Other notable wins across the country would be Can't Touch This, taking down the Runs 1-0 in the Cedar Park Texas State Championship. Also, an upset years in the making would take place in Tennessee when the TC35 Whiskey Ducks defeated Savvy 6-0 thanks to a perfect game thrown by Chase Oliver. All of these regular season events and many more built up the anticipation to the best weekend of the year in whiffs, the National Championship Tournament. 2021 would be the second year the NCT would be hoisted under the banner of United Wiffle Ball. And after the massive success of the previous year's event, expectations were high leading into October. As a part of this year's format, the number of teams was expanded to 44, and it was announced at the beginning of the year that there would be a series of linked events throughout the summer that, if won, would give the team an advantageous starting spot in the NCT. These linked tournament winners, combined with the 2020 Final Four teams, would compose Route 2 of the tournament. Route 1, on the other hand, would be a classic open-style format with all other inner teams divided into pools and having to battle it out in order to advance on to Sunday. If a team did not sweep their pool play games, they could move on with a losing record to play against losing teams in Route 2 to try and battle it out of the elimination rounds. As usual, the tournament would take place over Saturday and Sunday, October 23rd and 24th to be exact. Pool play would take place Saturday for Route 1 and Route 2. Then Sunday would be composed of the single elimination bridge round, followed by the Sweet 16 style bracket, leading to the National Championship Finals game. However, before we would get to any of the home runs, the pitching, the catches, the screaming, the whiffs, the weekend would kick off on Friday with the Friday Night Fan Fest and Home Run Derby, hosted by none other than MLW Wiffle Ball. The gates to the always incredible People's Bank Park of York, PA would open at 5:30, and hundreds of players, fans, and wiffle enthusiasts began piling into the park to check out the fields, meet and greet with fellow wiffle warriors, and watch the annual Home Run Derby.
We're here, boys. Home Run Derby, 2021 NCT, in the hoodies. Let's go, baby. Y'all ready?
The Home Run Derby would last for over 2 hours and feature over 40 players participating. It would come down to the three finalists, Jordan Robles, Tim McElrath, and Vin Lee, incidentally the exact same three finalists from 2020. In a dramatic final round, Jordan Robles would come out as the winner with a record 34 home runs. This would be Jordan's second year in a row taking home the Home Run Derby winner's trophy and $1,000 in cash. Congrats to Jordan and everyone on competing in a sick 2021 Home Run Derby.
You want the recipient of some cash, but of course a beautiful new bat, big flies, trophy bat, and it's gorgeous. What does it take to basically hit 20 in a row? What was going through your mind doing that?
I got to hit as many as I can because I know Tim has a chance to catch me. I wanted to get in the 30 because I had a good feeling he was going to get 30 himself. So that was what I was thinking there.
All right, Jordan, any final words for the crowd that's been gathered here tonight to watch you win another championship?
Thank everybody for coming out. I hope they come see all the 44 great teams tomorrow, and Sunday is going to be the best wiffle ball in the talent here tomorrow. So looking forward to it.
All right, Jordan, congratulations again. That's going to do it for our championship.
The 2021 National Championship Tournament would officially begin Saturday morning in the chilly Pennsylvania weather. However, the cold weather did not seem to affect teams' pitchers, as the early morning Route 1 games would be filled with young flamethrowers pumping heat. One such pitcher would be 19-year-old Lucas Francis of the Claws. He would get the ball in his team's first game and shut out Louisiana's Anarchy thanks to a 2-run double from Rob Sutton.
Let's go get there! Let's go, Rob! Woo!
This game would start the spark for the Claws, who would have a great day Saturday, but we will touch base with them later on in the day. Many considered the Claws to be a sleeper team, and another sleeper team stacked with talent was the New Jersey Lemonheads, captained by Tim Beck. A team composed of MAW veterans, they looked to ride the arms of up-and-coming ace pitchers Ray Luddick and Mike Stiles. The Lemonheads faced off against the Midwest powerhouse of the Cardinals early on in pool play. The aforementioned Stiles would get the ball and would chuck throughout the game, stifling the Cards lineup. Pete Slater, Stiles, and Luddick would combine to put up 5 runs. Stiles would close out the shutout and give his team the decisive win.
Another fly ball to center. Oh, home run, dead center. Pop up to second base. Ray got it. The first out recorded in the field is in the last play of the game. He got a walk. He got a single that scored him up.
The always interesting squad of the New York Meats would start their 2021 tournament run with an early morning matchup against the Keggers. The combined pitching performance of Jimmy Cole and Caleb Yonkman would help the Meats outlast the Keggers for a win in their first game of the tournament. Perhaps the team to have the hottest start of the tournament would be the Phenoms, with newly added players Vin Lee and Gino Joseph. Helped by the pitching of Jordan Robles and Gino, the Phenoms would mercy rule all 3 of their pool play games against the Dragons, Canines, and Unleashed to secure their spot in Sunday before noon. Saturday would move right along with Route 2 beginning play around 4 o'clock in the afternoon with some critical matchups. One such game would be the iconic franchise Wiff Inc. taking on the MLW All-Stars. The pitching matchup would be one of experience versus youth, with longtime Wiffle warrior Rob Longeroux getting the ball against Jimmy Norton. Both pitchers worked through a scoreless first 2 frames, but in the bottom of the third, an error on trying to turn a double play would cost the MLW All-Stars.
Go get me!
Connor Young capitalized for Wiff Inc. with a 2 RBI single. Kenny Rogers Jr. tacked on a sac fly RBI, and Bob would slam the door to give Wiff Inc. a win to start their tournament run. Connor Young would go on to carry the torch, pitching in their next game versus Slaughterhouse to help Wiff Inc. grab the win and continue their run on to Sunday. Another team charted on the same trajectory would be the Juggernauts, who entered this tournament hoping to erase the memories of their lackluster performance in the 2020 NCT. However, they would have to do it without the pitching of Brian DiNapoli, who had joined the Jugs during the regular season. That being said, it was a big question how the Juggernauts would work their pitching rotation in the NCT, and the answer was given Saturday night when they would roll with Tim McGilrath, who had seen limited pitching action since the end of the Palisades WBL. However, Tim had slowly been working his way back into the Jugs rotation in the 2021 regular season, and Saturday night he would absolutely show out by leading the Jugs to a 3-0 record with wins over the Waves, Fanway Vibe, and the Stompers. Saturday night would slowly start to wrap up with some last-minute dogfights with teams trying to scratch their way into Sunday. One such game would be a showdown between the Cardinals and Fuego. The Cardinals jumped ahead to an early 2-0 lead and looked to ride that out under the arm of their ace, Cam Smith. That solo shot by Sylvie Serrano put Fuego within one run of tying the game. But that absolute robbery by Gus Skibby would help the Cardinals cling on to that one-run lead. Down to their last out, Whiffman worked a walk. A wild pitch and a sac fly would move the tying run to third, sending Kenny Stingle to the plate as the final out, needing a hit to keep the game alive. With that strikeout, Cam Candyman Smith closed out the game in dramatic fashion, an absolute nail-biter under the lights. Unfortunately for the Cardinals, however, they would go on to be shut out by the Whippets in their next game 5-0. Their bats would fall cold against the legendary pitcher Randy Dalby, and the Whippets would end their run to move themselves onto Sunday. Fuego, meanwhile, would ultimately scrape their way into the Sunday bracket, helped by their Route 2 status thanks to the linked tournament win. While this game was going on, there was an upset no one saw coming occurring in the back corner of Peoples Bank Park. The earlier mentioned Lucas Francis of the Claws had battled all day on the rubber, and he would cap off his day by shutting out the prior three-time national champion C4, and then go on to punch his team's ticket to Sunday by hitting the go-ahead run against the WSEM Dream Team. One of the last teams to punch that same ticket to Sunday would be the MLW All-Stars. MLW put their tournament on the line in their game against the Long Balls.
What do you guys think of the game?
I don't try nasty stuff, but it's just probably an inch outside the zone. So unlucky.
Think they'll get their bats going?
Yeah.
Cheatham would get the ball, and despite running into trouble early on, would bear down on the rubber and get help from some Sports Center top 10 worthy defense by Jimmy North. That incredible catch would throw all the game's momentum onto the side of the MLW All-Stars, who would go on to get the win 7-2 and make it into Sunday.
I feel like a lot of people doubt MLW when you come to tournaments like this, and we just moved on to tomorrow. And I feel like I pitched really well, I put the bat on the ball, and I clutched up there at the end. So I think actually that last game that I just played on this field right here is probably my proudest moment. I'm clutching up, yeah.
Hey, get ready for Sunday.
Get ready for Sunday. Sunday with Championship Sunday.
Yeah, so cut the brakes, put the gas, now I'm coming for revenge. I've been feeling like an outlaw, cause I don't make amends. Every time I wanna win, I see a plotting on my end. All my enemies are seeing that I'm on up, they descend. Talking big game, yeah, but that ain't real, let's just pretend. Watch a legend burn, coming for
Let's Go Sunday is a phrase well known throughout the Wiffs community, and it represents the sheer hype of being able to take the field Sunday morning with a chance at winning a national championship. And in 2021, the Sunday field would feature a wild lineup of games, starting with the preliminary bridge round, those winning teams moving on to the final 16, and so on from final 8 to 4, and then the national championship finals. A team that was not expected to have to play in that bridge round was the legendary squad C4, whose fate was set after their loss to the Claws Saturday night and the drawing of teams from the hat to determine the seeding for the bracket. In their bridge round game, they would face Unleashed. But even more interesting was who the winner of the game would have to play, the undefeated Phenoms. C4 promptly took care of Unleashed with a 2-inning Mercy Rule win to move on to the final 16 to face their longtime rival, the Phenoms. The last time these teams had faced off, it had been a showdown at the 2019 National Championship Finals in Texas, and this game would live up to the hype. As expected, C4 would give the ball to Sean Steffi. The Phenoms would start their new pickup, Vin Lee, banking on the fact that C4 had never faced Vin Lee with a cut ball. Vin and Steffi would both work through the first, but in the second inning, Ed Packer would get his swagger back. After that blast of a home run, the Phenoms pulled Vin for toast, trying to limit the damage. That 2-run shot by Steffi gave C4 a commanding 3-0 lead. However, the Phenoms were far from done. A pair of RBIs from Josh Pagano and Vin Lee cut the deficit down to 1. Steffi would close out the inning, sending the game to the final frame, where Toast would work a 3-up, 3-down half inning of his own, sending the Phenoms to the plate, needing a run to keep their hopes of a national championship alive. With 3 straight Ks, Steffi had closed out the game, defeating the red-hot Phenoms in buzzsaw fashion to move C4 into the round of 8 for the 5th year in a row. As the morning moved on, the competition slowly began to narrow, with teams such as the Claws, Waves, and Bad Batch being eliminated. A couple of other early morning matchups would end in buzzsaw victories as well. First off, the Lemonheads, thanks to the combined pitching of Mike Stiles and Ray Luddick, plus some timely hitting, had knocked off the defending national champions, the Usual Suspects, on the other side of this round of 16. Secondly, the MLW All-Stars battle-ridden weekend would end when they met the Juggernauts in the round of 16. The Jugs would mercy rule them 10-0 to end an impressive run for the team and send the Jugs on to the round of 8. Who the Jugs would meet in their round of 8 game would be decided by an absolute showdown between Fuego and Wiffle. Fuego had survived Saturday night and now looked to give the ball to their ace Devin Torres and ride him through to the finals. Wiffle was in a similar spot with their own ace Dan Whitener. However, this game would not be the pitcher's duel that many were expecting. Wiffle would jump ahead to an early lead, but Fuego would come roaring right back. bases clearing double by power hitter Rob Whiffman Piervanazzi gave Fuego the 3-2 lead early on. However, it wouldn't take long for Whiffing's own heavy hitter to respond.
Get the fuck out! Come on, Kenny! Let's go!
Kenny Rogers Jr. delivered a solo shot in the third to tie the game at 3 apiece, but then both teams' pitchers began to take control of the game.
Never know, it's long run. There we go. Hey. Oh yeah, you can't get it past me. You can't get it past me.
That is until the bottom of the 6th, when Rob Laundrie would come up clutch once again on Sunday with a rocket to walk off the game, sending Fuego home and Whiff Inc. into the final 8 to face the Juggernauts.
Great game between two rivals. We really play them all the time. They know us very well. We know them very well from the Northeast Whiff, but they got the best of us. When you go deep in a tournament, especially day 2, anything can happen. Been doing it for almost 20 years, so it's that time where you got to step it up, and we didn't get it done, and they got it done. Right now, anybody could win. When you get this far, there's teams where they have ace pitchers who haven't pitched yet. I mean, you're coming off the day that Whitner hasn't thrown and he's fresh. That's going to be a tough game for anybody.
All while these games were going on, one team was once again quietly rising to the top. The Whippets, led by the pitching of Randy Dalby and the combined hitting of Pete Tainton, Peter Maccabee, and last-minute addition Nick Martinez, had won absolute dogfight games versus Way Too Beautiful, the 603 All-Stars, and Black Dog Country Club to absolutely cut through the competition right into the Final Four for the 2nd year in a row. As Sunday began to move into the afternoon, the field of play began to narrow down. Deciding who would join the Whippets in the Final Four club would be decided by a series of epic quarterfinal games. The first one we will cover will be the Jersey Lemonheads versus the Ridley Park All-Stars. Lemonhead starting pitcher Ray Luddick would cruise through the early innings and then help himself with a solo shot.
Get out, baby! Get out, baby! Get out! Let's go!
However, in the bottom half of the same inning, Cam Farrow would respond with a home run of his own to tie the game at 1. Ridley Park ace Noah Silverman would trade zeros with Luddick, sending the game into the last inning. Team captain for the Lemonheads, Tim Beck, would come up clutch with an RBI single to snag the lead right back. Silverman closed out the inning, limiting the damage, but the long balls would need to scratch a run across the plate to stay alive. That sac fly moved the runners to 2nd and 3rd, sending Cam Farrow to the plate with the opportunity for a walk-off win. But Ray Ludwig battled back to slam the door, putting the Lemonheads into their first ever Final Four as a franchise. Meanwhile, on the opposite end of the park, we had a highly anticipated game between C4 and the Meats. As expected, C4 would throw Sean Steffi, and to face him, the Meats would throw Kyle von Slossagen. Playing in pro tournaments since he was 13, this game right here was perhaps Kyle's biggest start of his career. He sliced and diced C4 batters through the early innings. Not to be outdone though, Steffi would do the same, and get some help from T-Weg in the outfield.
Yeah, Jim. Oh!
With a Sports Center worthy catch and a bomb to boot, C4 had grabbed all the momentum in the fourth inning. However, a double play and a 6 slider for strike 3 would help Kayvon work out of trouble and get the Meats bats back to the plate. Caleb Yonkman would go up and get a hold of a screwball to tie the game up at 1. After walking the next batter, the decision was made to pull Steffi for the arm of Kevin Norris. While surprising to some, this has been a noticeable move of C4 in the past, most notably in the 2019 National Championship. Norris would go to work, sitting down the first 2 batters he faced. However, a walk and a single by team captain Jimmy Cole would send Kayvon to the plate with the bases loaded. Kayvon delivered a dagger to the heart and shocked the crowd with a grand slam to make it a 5-run inning for the Meats, taking control with a 4-run lead. Kayvon had just put the team on his back, and he would cap off the performance by closing out the game, ending C4's run and sending the Meats into their first Final Four appearance. Now, the last game to decide the Final Four matchups was a game that's being called by many the best game of the weekend. That would be the showdown between the Juggernauts and Wiff Inc. on the main field of People's Bank Park. Practically, this game would be a continuation of the longtime regular season rivalry between the Jugs and Earl. To MAW fans, the pitching matchup would look very familiar, as Dan Whitener of Wiff Inc. would take the rubber against Ryan McGelrath of the Jugs. These pitchers would put it all on the line in this Final 8 game. Both pitchers would pump low 90s to stifle bats early on. In the fourth, Wiff Inc. would threaten with runners on first and second. But a double play quickly snuffed out the rally. Going into the last inning, each team looked to somehow get a run on the board and end the 0-0 stalemate. That absolute robbery by Connor Young would be complemented by a strikeout by Whitener to move the game into extras, still tied at 0. But it wouldn't stay that way for long, as Dan Whitener would deliver a shot to right in the first AB of extras to give Wiffle the lead. However, they wanted more than just the single run. Unfortunately for the Wiffle faithful, Ryan McElrath would battle back to limit the damage, not giving up another run. However, the Juggernaut's monumental season was now on the line, down to their last 3 outs. Down to their last strike, Ben Stant delivered a blast to right to tie the game at 1 apiece, keeping the Jugs' run alive. And so the pitchers' duel moved on to the 7th. In the bottom of the 7th, Whitener would strike out the first batter he faced, but would then walk over to the bench, clearly in some discomfort. Baseball coach Will Marshall would help him stretch out his elbow, as the team hoped to keep him in the game. However, after a team meeting, it was decided to pull Whitener for Connor Young, who had pitched the night before. Connor looked a little rough coming in. After intentionally walking Stant, he would give up another walk to Tim McElrath, putting the winning run at second with 2 outs. But Connor would dig deep and K. Red Sarnowski to send the game into the 8th, still deadlocked at 1. Ryan McElrath continued to chuck for the Jugs, and with 3 straight strikeouts, sent his team right back to the plate in the bottom of the 8th.
Alright, Stant leading off. Remember, get the game time home run if they have to go. If they're not intentional walking. Stant on drive, center field! First pitch walk-off home run on the very first pitch. Launches it. Line drive shot to center field. Maybe they should have intentionally walked him to start the 8th inning. The Juggernauts are going to the semifinals to play the Whippets.
And so ended one of the most dramatic games of the 2021 NCT. With that, the final 4 matchups were at last set. Whippets versus Juggernauts and Lemonheads versus the Meats, to determine who would face off in the 2021 National Championship Finals. Unfortunately for the Jersey Boys faithful, it was clear going into the Lemonheads versus Meats game that the Lemonheads had exhausted their pitching reserves. Despite his best efforts to rally, Styles would be easy pickings for the experienced Meats hitting lineup, who would work walks and throw together hit after hit. Kayvon would throw the first inning and Caleb Yonkman the next for the 10-0 Mercy Rule win to put the Meats into their first ever national championship game. On the adjacent field, we would have a more evenly matched game of veteran teams. Randy Dalby would get the ball, and despite pitching for 6 straight hours Sunday, would come into the game dealing. The Whippets threatened early with a pair of singles to put runners on the corners, but Ryan McElrath came back with a pair of strikeouts to cut the rally short, and then he would help himself with a 2-run bomb to give the Jugs the early lead. Red Sarnowski would tack on another run in the 3rd, but some spectacular defense from Pete Tanton would limit the damage. However, no one from the Whippets could really spark the offense, as the Jugs defense would hold strong and lead to the shutout win over the Whippets by a score of 4-0. Another incredible tournament run by the Whippets, but now the Juggernauts look to cap off a historic season by entering their first ever national championship finals. The stage was set under the lights of People's Bank Park, the Juggernauts versus the Meads, to decide the 2021 national champion.
You hit for me now.
Going into the finals, the Meats worked their 5-man roster once again, rolling with Kayvon on the rubber and DHing Jimmy Cole for Ryan Bush, who would play the infield. The Meats had a ferocious batting lineup assembled, and they would need to continue their hot hitting streak because Kayvon was entering the game having thrown all day Sunday and could use the run support. On the other hand, the Juggernauts would give the ball to Red Sarnowski, who was just coming off of closing out the Final Four game. He would have to face the power hitter Jimmy Cole, and then the 3 lefty sequence of Kayvon, Tyler Flackney, and Caleb Yonkman.
Yeah! Come on! Yeah! Good job! Let's go! Good job!
That sacrifice fly would cap off the inning with 3 runs for the Juggernauts. Red would start the game with a scoreless first. However, Kayvon would bounce back and respond with a scoreless frame of his own in the second, and then the Meads looked to respond at the dish.
There we go, that's how you start it. Hey, you want me? Go, Red.
A pair of singles put runners on the corners, bringing Jimmy Cole to the plate as the tying run in a very crucial at-bat in the game.
Hey, Red!
A foul tip into the zone would close out the inning, leaving the Juggernauts unscathed. Now the Juggernauts would pour on the bats. A grand slam by Ben Stant cracked the game wide open, and a pair of RBIs in the 4th almost made the game a mercy rule. Red continued to hurl strikeout after strikeout throughout the game, never letting the Meats get any offense going.
Good job, Red! Let's go! Come on!
In the last inning, Caleb Yonkman would make some noise, avoiding the shutout with a 2-run blast to center. But it would not be enough. And with that, the Juggernauts had won the 2021 United Wiffle Ball National Championship. They had capped off a monumental season of winning MAW regular season and postseason titles with a national championship to make themselves the undisputed champions of fast pitch wiffle ball in the country.
That's a fucking national title, baby. That's what we do. It's fucking done.
I'm assuming that with your dad here, this means even more. But tell us a little bit about what's going on in your mind right now.
I'm just so glad we did it. The title, it's everything. That's all we wanted. Third goal this year, and I don't know. I can't do it right now. Lost for words.
Ben, again, tournament MVP. You had those 2 home runs against Wiffle. You had 6 or 7 RBIs in this game. You've been ranking all tournament. You've been ranking all year, both in medium and fast pitch. So, congratulations. How you feel?
Fantastic.
All right, so listen, one more thing though. So what was it today that really brought the Juggernauts to the finals to win this game? I mean, you had to win 4 games today, right? So what was it in those 4 games that kept you guys going?
Good defense and not swinging at balls.
Early candidates and early winners of the all-tournament team are Ryan and Tim McElrath. Congratulations, fellas. So you're champions as well. You're an undisputed MAW champion. You're definitely the undisputed United Wiffle champion. What's going on in your mind?
We're the undisputed champs of the world. We put in way too much fucking work all year. Since January, whatever, just grinded nonstop wiffle ball. I heard people say we don't have passion. I was doing push-ups, sit-ups every day. We work too hard. Let's go, and it pays off. All you got to do is put the work in. We played as a team all year round. All year round, the only team here who is a team all year. That's what it takes. That's what a national champion is. Let's fucking go, baby. Jugs 21. Let's go.
That was well said. Let's go to your brother. Listen, he said a lot. What do you have to say?
I don't really talk much, but we wanted this for a long time, and we did it. That's it. Line it up. We're serious.
Line it up!
Anymore. We're out here trying to win these. I watched these videos for a long time. It means a lot. I don't know. That's it.
All right, again, congratulations to your champion.
Congratulations to the Juggernauts on an incredible season and a well-deserved title. I would also like to take a second to note that I did not cover every game, team, and player that competed this weekend. So if you'd like to look more into the highlights yourself, go check out the various United Wiffle Ball social media outlets for player highlights, reels, full games, news, and much more. All the links are down below in the description. However, that being said, I would like to take a moment to acknowledge some of the award winners from this year's NCT. First of all, Finals MVP Chris Sarnowski of the Juggernauts on a spectacular pitching performance. The Iron Man Award for Randy Dalby of the Whippets for his workhorse performance on the rubber. Breakout Player Award for Mark Austria of Can't Touch This for proving himself to be a future heavy hitter in the sport of whiffs. And Tournament MVP Ben Stant of the Juggernauts, whose bat helped lead his team all weekend and eventually to the national championship title. I would also like to take a moment to thank all of those who put in hours and hours of work to make United Wiffle Ball what it is. So thank you to Tim and Paul Cook, Nick Shirey, Tim Dean, Anthony Dioria, Rob Longeroux, Dan Lanigan, David Wood, Ed Packer, and everyone from the York Revolution and People's Bank Park. It's truly the combined work of everyone that makes this event possible and makes it as great as it is. As for myself, my name is Ben and I run Wiffle Statement, your home for wiffle ball content from across the country. Subscribe for more content to fill your whiffs needs. You can also follow me on Twitter for quicker whiffs updates on happenings going on within the community. I hope you guys enjoyed this recap and it got you hyped for 2022, which is quickly approaching and set to be another incredible year for wiffle ball. That's going to do it for me, fellas. Get out there and play some whiffs, and I'll be talking to you guys soon. Goodbye.